Hi, my name is Sylvie. I am a certified health coach and fitness trainer, and today's video is a side split stretch routine. I've been really neglecting my side splits over the last year and a half as I have been working on my flexibility, and the reason for that is that I have been finding it hard to find an enjoyable and effective training routine. But I think this one fits the bill. I have been experimenting with all kinds of side split stretches, and this routine includes my top 6 favorite side split stretches. I think you'll love that. And for the routine, you'll need optional ankle weights, an optional dumbbell, and possibly yoga blocks. If you don't have those on hand, just get started anyway, and I'll help you modify the stretches so that you can do them without. We're gonna get started in the happy baby pose. You're gonna lie on your back and bring your feet up. As you hold the sole of your feet with your hands, you're gonna press down and make sure that your tailbone is on the mat. Engage your lower abs. The happy baby is a great little stretch because you really feel it when you get started, when you're not warmed up in your inner thighs yet. You'll really feel it no matter what your flexibility level is. As you train for any flexibility goal, it's important that you find your training enjoyable. And that's what I meant when I said that I had a hard time finding a side split session that I could enjoy. Because I like to do my stretches in the evening as a time that I can use to relax. It's like a time for myself. I just close my bedroom door and go stretch, listen to some music, and I recommend you also do that. If you want to stay consistent with your flexibility training, you have to find a way to make it enjoyable. And then also make sure you keep track of your progress. That really keep you motivated. I like to hold most stretches for about 2 minutes. Usually it takes about 2 minutes to really start feeling your body open up. That's what I've been noticing, and also it helps progress quicker. I find that going through more stretches and holding them for a shorter amount of time is just not as effective. Anyway, when your goal is to achieve a certain pose, I mean, if you just stretching after a workout or something, it's different. But when you want to really increase your flexibility to do the splits, for example, you need to hold the stretches longer. That was what I've learned. Next, we're gonna get into a wide angle seated forward bend. And as you will see in this routine, I use the wide angle seated forward bend in all kinds of different variations because it's one of my favorite stretches. It is definitely the closest you can get to doing the splits, and it stretches all the muscles that you need to stretch when you want to achieve the splits. This first variation here, that's where you're going to use your dumbbell. And as you hold that pose, make sure that your toes are pointing up. Keep your thighs pointing up as well. Tilt your tailbone back as you hinge at the hips. And then you can use your dumbbell as a resistance to go up and down as you hinge at the hip. You don't need a dumbbell. That's what I was saying when I mentioned that these props were optional. You could do it without, like this, for example. And as far as how fast or slow you move into your stretch, you just have to listen to your body and figure out what feels good. Figure out how fast or how slowly your body is opening up, and you can stay lower longer if that's what feels good, and then come back up. A lot of side splits routine use stretches like the lizard lunge or the low lunge, and you'll notice that those stretches are not in this particular routine because I use them a lot in the front splits and other routines, and I didn't find that these stretches really helped me get closer to the side splits. So I really focused on this wide angled seated forward fold and a few other ones that you will see. Keep your chest up as you do this. Next, we're gonna get in the butterfly stretch. Bring the sole of your feet together. And again, you're going to hinge at the hip. Move your upper body forward as you're pointing your tailbone back. And eventually, when you become flexible enough, you'll be able to put your chest down. Until you get there, you can also bring your hands behind you to support yourself as you're moving your chest forward. You may find that squeezing your glutes helps you get deeper into the stretch. Also, you can play around with the distance. In this case, I just noticed that if I take my feet closer to my body, I feel the stretch more in my inner thighs. Next, you're gonna put your ankle weights on. If you have them. If you don't have them, you can still do the same move without them. And you're gonna lie on your back. A wall there is useful, although you don't really have to use a wall. You can do the move without a wall like this here. So you're going to be either moving one leg up and down, and then move to the other leg up and down. Again, make sure you're engaging your lower abs. Never forget to engage your lower abs. You can do both legs at the same time. We're just gonna do that for about 30 seconds before we go into a more passive stretch. Point your toes, lift your kneecaps, engage your abs. Now you're gonna rest your legs. We're gonna stay here for about a minute. Again, in that stretch, you'll notice that when you engage your core and tilt your tailbone, you feel it deeper. As you open up, you can take your legs further apart. Bring your feet in. And you can take your ankle weights off if you had them. We're going to get into a forward fold, a wide-legged forward fold. And you can also grab your dumbbell at first. As you hinge at the hip, make sure you're keeping your chest proud, you're engaging your core. I'm gonna put the dumbbell to the side. You can do the elephant walk, which means you're gonna bend one leg slightly to get your chest to meet with your thigh. Then you're gonna move to the other side. We're gonna do that a few times. The speed I pick is always a matter of preference. Do what feels good. Now we're gonna get into your more passive forward fold. As a reminder, lifting up your kneecaps, tilting your tailbone up will help you make the stretch more effective. You can also use your hands and pull yourself closer to your thighs. Next, we're going to use the wall again. This time, you're going to do a seated forward bend, but using the wall as resistance. Sit as close as you can get with your legs against the wall. And just rest in that position. If you're anything like me and you're just getting started, this might feel anything but restful. When I started doing those stretches against the wall, I felt like my whole body wanted to tense up. It was highly uncomfortable. As a note of encouragement, it will get better. It is already better now. In the meantime, you can try to focus on keeping your face relaxed, your neck relaxed, your shoulders relaxed, and breathe into your stretch. Again, you may notice that I am hinging at the hips slightly, and I'm moving my tailbone back. Next, you're going to get into your frog stretch. Start on all four, bring your feet out, and then spread your knees apart as much as you can. And make sure that you're keeping your hips back as much as possible, because if you bring your hips forward, you won't be stretching very much. As you open up, you may be able to take it down onto your elbows. And again, make sure that you are bringing your hips back. Next, we're gonna get into that wide angle seated forward fold again. It's the last time. And this time we're not using the wall or anything like that. We're not using a prop like a dumbbell. We're just gonna passively stretch. And after you're doing the whole routine, you may notice that you can get a lot lower than the first time you did it at the beginning of the routine. This is why I love doing those so much. They're super effective. I'm gonna add this session to my full body flexibility program because I think it's going to be my favorite side splits stretching session now, and that I want to add it to the other sessions that are in my program. If you haven't checked out my program yet, I'll leave a link in the description. Now I will probably end this session here, most of the times that I do it myself, but you do have another option at this point. If you want to try to practice your side splits, you can do that. You could use a prop like yoga blocks or a small table or a chair to support yourself. And then open up with either your feet on the mat like that or pointing up, and then you can stay here for, I don't know, as long as you can, maybe a minute. That's one of the things that I do in my program. but I find it so uncomfortable. I often skip that part. Maybe I just not, I don't feel like I'm flexible enough to stretch that way yet. But, I mean, we shouldn't avoid discomfort necessarily. Well, maybe once in a while, it's a good idea to get into that stretch. I'm gonna hold that for about 40 more seconds, but you get out whenever you're ready. You can move up and down too, in and out of the discomfort. And use your breath as a tool. Also, don't forget to tilt your tailbone back. And you did a great job. Stay consistent with your stretching sessions and you will definitely see results with that routine.